I graduated with Masters in Human Computer Interaction from Rochester Institute of Technology, which is in New York State. You can like see this graduation photo right here, where I took my grad walk virtually. So it was during May 2020, where everything was done virtually back then. So this is a bit about my like profession. Prior to like masters, I did computer engineering from India. And apart from my work and career, I like to travel, explore new places. I'm also into photography. And I have been recently doing this video journaling, meaning that whenever something nice happens during the day, I just like to capture it in the video. So this is a bit about me. Um, is this like, should we like start with the presentation or wait for folks to join in? Oh, great out. No. All right, let's dive into this presentation. It is going to be an informative session on interaction design, and the hope is that this information will not only help you analyze the products, apps that you use, but also help you in your designs. So, whoever is, I guess, starting new in this space, or when you're thinking of UI design in general for your product, you might get most benefits from this. Whatever I'm going to present, the example, the screenshot of the app is the aggregation of my research, experience, and just my curiosity about interaction design. So to start with product designing, I'm a product designer, so I just wanted to like share about the roles or the responsibilities that I have. So as a product designer, you will have to wear several hats. It's a field where you will need to do a lot of product thinking, a lot of cross-functional collaboration, interaction design, which is what we're going to see today. You will also have to do low fidelity, high fidelity designs to communicate your ideas or quickly brainstorm with your team. Being part of UX research and usability testing is also important responsibility in the product designing role. So as a product designer, you need to think of product holistically. One of my favorite parts of designing is the interaction design, and it's very like it's a crucial part of the design process. whenever I'm designing a new feature or even when redesigning an existing one, interaction design aspects uh, is like which we will be discussing in the next few slides are always top on of my mind. So what exactly is interaction design? In our day-to-day life, we interact with so many apps and products, be it physical product or digital product. As a user of this product, you are constantly exchanging information with it. It is always a two-way communication between you and the product. It literally talks to you with some kind of feedback like visual cues. um, in your day you may be receiving so many notifications, right, on your phone. It is nothing but a form of communication. It is just prompting you to communicate back with the product or app. um, so it's fascinating to me to think of the products in this way, right, in a communication two-way format. There are other ways like voice. When you talk to Siri or Google Assistant, it just replies you back with voice or text. So as a designer, your job is to make design decisions that will streamline this interaction or communication between user and the product. um, Interaction design will it can increase user satisfaction. There are several metrics that have proven to like increase the user engagement and ultimately drive business success. So broadly speaking, in the entire design process, interaction design typically comes after there's some research that has been conducted. um, in this first phase, you will be like in this understand requirements phase. You'll be gathering information like user goals, business goal, talking to users, getting uh, their pain points, understanding them. And in the next step, you will most likely be brainstorming and finding out common themes from that data that you have gathered. So the next phase is you actually start designing. At this point, when you have actually, when you're about to begin designing, you have an idea, you should have an idea of what you're solving and for whom. You should have that context ready before just diving into creating some mock-ups or creating any digital assets or screens. We all know this process, it's not new, but just like wanted to share that interaction design is part of this design step. It's a complex and multifaceted field that requires designers to consider a variety of different factors. We'll explore these five dimensions with some examples. Again, there could be more factors I might be missing, and the usage of this dimension totally depends on the context of your product. But like these like factors or dimensions, as I mentioned here, are the ones that I've used mostly in my work. All right, so let's dive into the first one, the flow. So what do I mean by flow? Flow refers to the intuitive and seamless experience users feel while interacting with the product. There are ways you can use there are multiple like ways or methodologies you can use to make the flow seamless. Either by creating visual cues like highlighting or labeling in your UI. The user should feel oriented when they land on your product. The second is like if the product is complex, break it down by providing a preview of steps involved to complete a task. So here is an example just to share what I'm exactly talking about. So here is a great example from Google Travel webpage, which does a great job of orienting users when they land here, right? By providing this text or highlighting this icon with the color, so you will know that exactly where you are in the system and what are other options available next. So this is one. Another great example is Airbnb. The flow of this website is very intuitive. It is a smooth flow that guides you through the steps. So for example, over here, right, the hierarchy is so nicely put out here, where if you like tap into this or click this section here, it will give you more options. Once you select a region or destination here, it will automatically take you to the next step and then next step. Once you are done filling out, it will just like collapse it into this nice little UI design here. And just right below it, it will just give you more options. So it is like guiding you, it is orienting you. So it's a nice balance that they are maintaining. Um, so the navigation is super clean, in my opinion, for Airbnb application. There are other UI elements you can consider, like this progress bar to show a preview of the steps involved to complete a task. I'm sure you have seen this in like almost uh, like several applications on your phone as well as on web pages. Um, the other classic example is this breadcrumb, which I'm sure you have seen it also. It's important to like orient users where they are and also give them ability to just jump between several steps here. All right, moving to the second dimension is UI writing. It is a huge subject. UX UI writing is a huge um, subject and a big domain in itself. There are roles available in the job market just for the UX writer, and it's an interesting field. But for me, I need to consider some aspects of UI writing in my work to make the language and text clear to the user and make an engaging user experience. So that there are some like things that I mostly follow here is the writing in the UI has to be clear with the use of simple plain language. As a designer, we are responsible to create designs that includes like respective user personas. So making it contextual for them will serve a great value to your users. um, Avoiding ambiguous writing and making it intentional are key factors in UI writing. Let's see some examples. um, a contextual button is a big part of my design process. It has to align with the context of the product. So for example, I took this like snippet from Figma. There is this context at the top, they have provided image, and at the bottom there is this button with a label that says open in FigJam. So for me, like as a user of Figma, I know that this is going to open in FigJam. So it's contextual. I know that it is going to open and uh, you know behave in the way I'm expecting it uh, by seeing this text here. There is this another app that I use on a regular basis, which is called ZocDoc. I really like how they have this label here that says Find Care. It's an app where you can book appointments with your doctor. Um, so I like this label here that says Find Care instead of just like generic text like search. It feels more personalized. So thinking in that perspective will kind of enhance your uh, uh, writing in like UI writing for your products. There are other labels you can use instead of generic ones, like next step, which like tells user that there are more steps involved in the task that they are performing. Then there is a save button. Instead of using text like done or okay or something like that, you can use save. And there is this another uh, which is also like very contextual, is save and continue, telling users that the current work will be saved, but there are more steps involved. So this is like it's communicating to you through like different, more personalized writing. A big part of the design work would be writing messages, meaning error messages or success messages and in progress messages. So, error messages. Error in the system could occur due to technical error or human input error. So, I always write messages accordingly. I avoid using tech heavy words for the users. I feel it is always valuable to provide call to action buttons. So if you run into an error that says incorrect, or maybe like issues with your connectivity, right? Your Wi-Fi issues. It gives you an error. There should be a button just right below it where users can take some actions to get out of that error. The other type of error is like providing uh, direct messages for success and in progress messages. There is this great book I would like to recommend. It's called Conversational Design by Erica Hall. The book is amazing and it covers principles of conversational design. So give it a read. I'm a big fan. Um, it's available on Amazon as well. The third dimension is a feedback loop, which is the most crucial part of design world, especially in interaction designing, right? Because it's a two-way communication. um, as I said in the beginning, that the product you are interacting with is constantly talking to you by providing feedback in the form of notifications, visual cues, or even voice when you ask Siri a question, for example. So, so it's a constant interaction. The other thing which I learned is always providing an easy way for users to enter and exit your app or web page at any time. Don't let them stuck on any task for longer. Guide them through it. Provide some call to action buttons. Provide you visual cues, um, and just take them closer to their goals. So here are some examples of feedback loops from the apps I use on daily basis. This is the Apple Camera app. I'm sure many of you here have seen this already. It is literally the highlighted section here, this text that you see here when you're in the portrait mode of the camera. This label is literally communicating with you that you should move farther away to capture a good quality photo. After you read this, what do? You take steps to address this feedback. You move like a bit away from the object you are capturing. This label alone is helping you reach your goal of capturing a good quality photo. So this is a two-way communication. Um, Providing prompts like this is a great way for users to double check before proceeding. So in this case, I was deleting a document from an app, and it just like prompted me. It just gave me a feedback that this cannot be undone. So I just confirmed it, and for me that is an it's a you have seen this everywhere, but these are like small things that makes a huge difference in the UI design. Here is a classic example of showing colors as feedback when you enter an incorrect credit card number. There are several ways you can do it, and you might have seen it elsewhere in the app, um, in other apps. But yeah, this is about the feedback loop. Ah, yeah, these are my favorite skeleton wireframes. There are times when your product could like require time to load due to some technical issue or latency issue. Um, the best way to communicate this delay is through um, skeleton wireframes. This is an effective way to tell users that system is loading, hang in there, for a few seconds, and your content will be available to you. So several apps that you uses this. Earlier time when I was using this application, like I didn't even know that such thing existed. Um, I used to like ignore this completely, but when I learned about it, when I researched about it, it does solve a lot of problem um, for the users, and it just like makes users stay on your app for longer. All right. The fourth dimension is UI behavior. This dimension refers to the way in which the interface responds to the user input. When you see when you see a right-facing arrow icon on mobile screen or any web page, you will naturally feel that the next screen to appear will be from right after you tap it. So this pattern is very consistent. It comes naturally to us that wherever the arrow is pointing, the screen will appear. So this is a pattern that we have, you know, we are used to seeing it everywhere. So for the same reason, UI patterns in your product must be consistent to it will enhance the user experience of the product in general. It plays a huge role in ensuring to the user that the features they are interacting with will behave exactly the way they expect. So for example, when you see a card layout like this, you would expect it to like scroll horizontally, right? So it is a universal pattern which we are now used to. um, the like scrolling vertically is something that comes naturally for us to explore more content. um, so these like patterns you need to identify in general, and be consistent with it. It will serve a great value to your users as well as business in general. The fifth dimension is learnability. I cannot stress how much important this is. Learnability means your users should be able to learn the product with ease and shouldn't need a lot of time to, get value out of it. I believe that if you have well-designed information architecture, then it solves most problems associated with learnability. It should be intuitive and should be able to guide users throughout. There are ways to make learnability easy, and one of them is user onboarding. So, when you download a new app, you will notice the first few screens are onboarding screens. It kind of like educates you as what value this app is providing you, and you just like hit next, go through all the steps, and then you land um, on the product landing page. Um, there are there are examples of um, in-app tutorials as well, which I'm going to share a screen for that as well. But I have here Airbnb here again as an example, because I do like their UI design in general. And this is for the information architecture here, which is super good. So check out Airbnb, and it's a great app to just like uh, study as well. There are podcasts available on YouTube from the designers at Airbnb, so you can just like give it a listen. So the other one I have here is Duolingo app. I'm a big fan of this app. They got the onboarding game on point. It's Duolingo app is for like learning languages. There are a lot of content inside it. New things are happening, but they are guiding users through some like UI elements or pop up like this. There are tool tips to just orient you on the app. So it's a great app. You should explore it. just to learn how they are breaking the complex um, product into like simpler and making it simpler for the users. All right. Guess the next step is next slide is presenting your design. So one of the approaches I take and I've taken in the past is showing the interactions like these dimensions in my design through prototyping. It helps overall everyone in the team setting to understand the mockups visually and also understand the transitions between the stages. While you're designing, just like maybe thinking of these like dimensions that we just saw, having that in mind while designing will like um, help you make your design decisions a bit stronger when you're presenting them uh, internally or to whoever you are presenting to. So now when analyzing new designs or even when interacting with this with the existing apps, um, I ask myself, is the flow correct? Like ask my questions constantly, and now um, even I don't need to ask myself, it just comes naturally to me. It comes with practice. I see all the apps through these questions that I have here. So you should like, you can ask like, is the flow correct? Is it like taking users closer to their goal? Is the label on the button contextual? Is the writing or messaging clear? Am I, like a question like, if I'm getting any error messages as a user, am I able to perform any actions to resolve that issue? So like questions like that, you should like think from a user's perspective, like as well as designer's perspective. The question like, have I provided enough feedback cues to help users interact easily? Is the UI that I'm designing consistent with the existing pattern, and how easy it is to learn this feature? So these questions kind of like helps me and guides me in my user interface designing. And of course, while designing, I also keep user goals in mind, user persona in mind, and design accordingly. These are the apps that I have, like images that I've used in this application, and this is the book I mentioned by Erica Hall. So just give it a read. Thank you. Any questions?
More questions about what was talked about or what was mentioned in some of the slides. So if you guys have any questions, even if it's not totally related to the presentations, feel free to unmute your mics and you could ask away, or you could use the text channel box to type out your questions. So we're opening the floor to you guys. So this is a great opportunity to talk to an expert. Don't be shy. There's no wrong questions here, so we're all here to learn. Oh, I think Vanessa has a question. Uh, I'm not sure if we can hear you. Can anyone hear Vanessa?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to respond with the emoji.
Oh, okay, no problem.
But thank you for this. This was really helpful. I got a bunch of notes here about things being contextual. I know that can be very difficult to do when you're trying to design. Thank you.
I don't have any questions, but I also just wanted to say thank you. Wasn't expecting this, and I popped on, and I got a lot out of what you said, um, and really enjoyed listening to everything. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Does anyone have any comments, or is there something that you guys want to talk about or share? Feel free to let us know. I just want to make a comment. Like, I actually appreciate, Tanvi, that you used a lot of real product examples and highlighted certain features or design choices that kind of are maybe a little bit overlooked. Because sometimes when we use products that are really efficient and kind of matches our needs, it almost feels like we don't notice or pay attention, right? But when things go wrong, that's when things get a little bit aggravating for the user. So when you talked about the error messages, this is something that I've actually experienced recently. I was using an IKEA app and I was trying to make an account. And whilst I was trying to commit my information and submit it, I kept getting error messages that says, "Oops, something went wrong," and it was super frustrating just having a vague piece of information that doesn't tell you what went wrong or what I can do to get out of it. So I think it's pretty important for UX designers to understand that, yeah, sometimes when the product is, or let's just say the app that the user is using isn't working correctly, there's no like steps as to how they could solve this problem. There's no prompt to say, hey, submit maybe a support ticket or contact someone from the customer service department and they can help you out with this tech problem. There's no kind of like workaround for that. And I think that's super important to keep in mind when we're designing products for customers.
Yeah, yeah, I echo what you just mentioned here. Is that earlier I used to not even pay attention to like those small nuances in the interaction design, but as I like learned about it, just like started coming up to the front as to like it's actually communicating with me, right? Uh, as a user, it is just like giving me cues for me to just interact with it. So there are a lot of apps that now I see whatever I use on a daily basis. I actually see it through this conversational uh, point of view. So yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Also, there's a question from Hanun. They asked how AI will affect interaction design. So this is a broad topic, but what do you think about this, Tanvi?
Yeah, I think we have seen a massive, growth in AI technology in general. There are apps that are available that just creates UI for you with just one prompt. So it's going to like even grow further. I guess as a designer, our job is to make sure that uh, even if we use these tools right in our job, the part of our job is to like make sure the designs are contextual. The AI can create user interface, but it has to be contextual in general. It has to match with the user persona, and also um, it's I don't know like I don't know answer to this, but like even though it can create user interface design, but would AI be able to like empathize with the users and create contextual UI? It's a question that I'm excited to know and learn.
Yeah, that's a
What do
bit.
you what do you all think about how it will affect AI? I'm just like curious to know from your side as well.
Looks like someone's typing an answer in the chat. Well, first, before we move on to the next question, I would have to say I know AI is changing, you know, everything and it's producing very interesting results. The fact that there's no control or regulation on it right now, I think it would be very difficult to just get rid of all UX design because it is an iterative process. And I think right now AI is good at maybe generating results based on the kind of information that we feed into it. But when it comes to iterating what was done, that's a case of sometimes it's a hit or miss. And I still think that a product designer is still necessary because at least product designers can empathize with users and understand their feelings and emotions and maybe come up with hypotheses as to why they think or feel this way and try to find this evidence. But I think AI can be better at that in certain circumstances. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy right now with AI, but who knows? Maybe in the next year or two, maybe it'll be so far advanced that that won't be a problem.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
I kind of have a hypothesis that AI will more replace users to a degree because of user research and things like that. I know it's kind of a hot topic right now, but I feel like personas, building personas and doing user research and kind of since AI is trained on users in general, it it can replicate users really well. So I started doing that right away with it, is like seeing what kind of personas I could build out of like real interviews and things like that. So I think it's an interesting thought.
Mm.
Yeah, I think AI could definitely assist with the research process, but to completely eliminate an entire person's job, maybe not right away, maybe until it learns how to make better decisions, then maybe it could happen. But yeah, it's a field that I'm not totally like an expert in. I don't know much, but with what I'm learning right now, it's like I think any job that requires a lot of analysis of data is probably under risk. And that would also include UX designers and researchers because we're all kind of trying to like adapt and learn different patterns of behavior. And a lot of design is patterns, and AI can be really good at recognizing it and making decisions close to what we would make or even slightly better. So how we're going to utilize it in the future, I certainly hope that we're not just going to go and replace people because we're going to lose a job. So, unless they want to give us universal basic income, I'd be okay with that. But if not, then that would be a pretty scary future.
Yeah.
Right, so I think there were some more questions. This is a really interesting topic, and I definitely want to move on from this, but it's a really good topic to go on. But let's also consider other questions before the end of our hour. Nor says, is onboarding pages the only way to tackle learnability? And is there any other way that's more organic?
Yeah, that's a great question. For onboarding is one of the ways to you know, just like guiding users and providing what value you are giving to them through the onboarding screens. The other way is like to do is from the beginning you should consider information architecture as well, which is like a backbone of your um, design layout, and just like having a consistent pattern across the application will help them learn uh, the app quickly. They don't need to wouldn't need to, I guess, spend much time on exploring what all options they have if they are guided throughout the application. um, so organically I feel that just like having consistent pattern, uh, just adding more context and also having a smooth navigation in your design will just uh, make this it's more organic form than just providing onboarding. It's hilarious. It's a great idea. Ooh, it's an interesting use case.
Alrighty, so if we don't have any questions, oh yeah, so Noor says, yeah, their answer was, it was satisfactory, so they said thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if we don't have any more questions, I think we can end this session a little bit early. I appreciate you guys like sharing your gratitude as well as your perspectives and insights. This is why we do this. We're glad that you're all learning from this as well. And if you do find value in the things that we're doing with our webinars, please consider donating to us because we spend a lot of time volunteering, making sure that this server is well run, that you have a calendar of events with interesting webinars that you could take part in. It's free education basically. But if you like the stuff that we're doing and you want to support us in a better way, uh, please consider donating to us. The money kind of helps us to keep our website running. It helps us to reserve software so you guys can participate in design sprints, all that stuff for research. It helps us to be better at delivering quality programming and webinars and stuff like this for you guys. And we also want to make this community free, so we don't want to make everyone pay. So the donations really helps us to reach out to a wider audience so that everyone can benefit from this. Alrighty. And thank you again, Tanvi, for doing this talk. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot. I'm learning all the time when I'm running these kinds of events, and everyone else is learning as well. So we really appreciate it. And for those of you that want to follow Tanvi, Tanvi, is it alright for our members to maybe follow you on social media? Do you want to share your links or your
Yeah,
website?
I can do that. Uh, I will just share in the chat.
There you go. So follow Tanvi on LinkedIn. And yeah, if you have more questions afterwards, I guess they could reach out to you on LinkedIn. Is that the best way to contact you?
Yeah, yeah, just like feel free to send connection. Would love to get connected with you all and just send me any questions that you have.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
so much.
I hope everyone has a great long weekend. I think it's the Easter weekend, isn't it? Happy Easter and all
Oh,
that. And yeah,
happy long.
yeah. Have a good day.
That link has worked, the LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
It's not working. Oh,
When you go to your LinkedIn profile, you could just like copy and paste.
yeah.
Oh, I think Balfour found it for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I missed the uh, in that link. Thanks.
Bet AI couldn't do that. Well, seems like you're faster than AI. Big brain.
AI is the current boom, so I was expecting that question to come.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for being here, guys. The recording for this webinar will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, so also consider following us there so you can get a reminder. Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
And
all.
please
Bye.
donate. Bye bye.